some rain tonight or tomorrow, but we need it, don't we? I am absolutely delighted to have joining me today a good friend of ours, Amaya Isert. You're going to find out a lot about Amaya and a lot about Amaya's projects during this next hour. But let me just say, first of all, Amaya is the founder of a beautiful project called Donkey Dreamland. I think the clue is in the name. Welcome, Amaya.
Thank you, Bill. Well, thank you for having me here and to offer me the opportunity to speak about my project in that space.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you here, Amaya. Um, right. I think before we start talking about the project and about donkeys and all of these things, I think people probably want to know who they're listening to. So, Amaya, where are you from originally?
Well, that's another thing. I'm gonna have to excuse myself because maybe I don't speak the most perfect English since I am from Granada, Andalusia.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
very, very Spanish.
can I just say I would rather we're doing this in English than in Spanish, though.
So, yeah, I'm from Granada. I was born in Granada. Well, a few years ago. I'm not going to say the age anyway. And then I moved to Barcelona when I was quite young, to put it that way. I was only 12. Then I lived in Barcelona for quite a few years. I did my studies, etc. there, and then I started to travel the world.
Yeah, this is a bit we're coming to, though, Maya. That you weren't one of these young women that left school, went to university, then got a job in an office, were you?
Well, not exactly. No, I did try that because that was what I was supposed to do, but it didn't really work out for me. I did study art in Barcelona. That's one of my passions, besides donkeys and
Right.
some other things. But then I realized that I really wanted to see the world and I really wanted to travel. So I decided to go and learn English in a proper. Mm, in I went to Ireland, so it was. For me it was the best school because through having through speaking a sort of proper English so people at least can understand me,
Uh-huh.
I got to live many amazing experiences over the last years.
Okay, so you've done a bit of traveling in your time, haven't you? Listen, I'm not stalking you, but I have looked through your Facebook page because we're friends on
Oh my
Facebook.
god.
Yeah. No, the photos are all very decent. Don't get me wrong.
Of course they are,
But
yeah.
you seem to have spent a lot of time on the sea. Is that true?
Yes, a lot of time. Well, altogether it's about it's about 15 years because also I took some breaks in between since I love the sea, but I also love the land.
Hmm.
But yeah, this the different choices I made since I was young, they took me to discovering the sea because I'm from Granada. There is no
There
sea
is
in
no sea
Granada,
now. For
so
anyone who doesn't know where
yeah,
Granada is, it's kind of right in the middle of the land. Yes.
yeah, it's the highest mountain in Spain. So yeah, there is not so much sea there. So it doesn't come from like my childhood or anything. I
Uh-huh.
just discovered it on my 20s, and I just fell in love with it. So I just looked for the way that I could be part of that. And
Right.
I worked my way to become a real sailor.
Yeah.
And
So what kind of yacht ships were you sailing on? What have you experienced?
well, all sort of, since I started with a very small project, which was like how you call that, a charter
All right.
company in
Okay.
Mallorca. So I was just sailing with say 45 feet ships and just only around Mallorca for like a couple of days.
Hmm.
And then one great opportunity came when I was working there, and they offered me to do a crossing with a beautiful sailing yacht, a Swan 86. I will also always remember that yacht. And
Yeah.
actually, that yacht was called Dreamland.
It was called Dreamland.
Yes.
Okay. So we've got a little connection already, right, between Donkey Dreamland and the first yacht that you sailed on.
Yeah, as I said to my patients, so yeah, so I got them together, and I thought the name made a lot of sense.
Yeah. So what kind of crossings have you made? You said your first crossing of what?
Well, crossing. When I say crossing, we always talk about Atlantic crossing. That is
Atlantic.
for a sailor is like the first thing you should do.
Yeah.
I always dreamed about doing that, and actually I did the nice crossing because it was from the Canary Islands up to St. Bart's, which is that's a very nice and pleasant
Yeah.
crossing because you have your winds on your favor and everything is nice. But I have also done the North Atlantic crossing, which is coming back from, say, the Caribbean or Bermudas up to Hamburg, for instance, and that
Right.
is not so nice, believe me.
No. Listen, I am not. I'm a landlubber, really. I'm not very good on boats. Um, I got seasick crossing from Dover to Calais on the English Channel.
Okay.
Right. So, did you have any problems with that seasickness and
No, this is something that's funny because some people just actually get seasick, and some others they don't. I never did, never
no?
did. No,
I'm
not even in the worst storms.
I am
And
impressed. I'm really impressed.
but it makes no. I mean, it's nothing that I should be proud of it because I did nothing to get there. It's just like yeah, some people has this thing. And also, you need to know that, yeah, I'm a sailor, but I was working as a chef on the sailing yachts.
Ah, okay.
So you need to be tough enough to be cooking and smelling all these different, smells
Yeah,
from
but
the stew, while you have like
while the
waves
ship's
of
going up and down
yes,
and up and down.
exactly,
Yeah,
and you're
yeah.
trying to get your balance there in the galley, trying that everything doesn't fall down to the floor. So you need to be quite concentrated, and maybe it's one of the reasons that you don't get so seasick.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
Well, I am impressed, but because I don't know, I'm a water sign, so I'm supposed to be good on water, but actually I'm absolutely terrible. Okay, so you've done really you've been out and about, and to say I introduced you by saying you're not really an office girl, are you? You know,
No, 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 no. That will kill me. In fact, Bill, I did try that. Of course, I did some office work, and I think I
yeah.
lasted like 2 weeks. I was like, no, just get me out of here because I'm going crazy. You know.
Can you? I mean, I have a certain admiration for people, but can you imagine spending, I don't know, 40 years in the same job, pushing papers and going to the same office? Could you imagine that?
I cannot myself. I understand that it's people that is good for that actually, and and also I admire these people because it takes it's not easy to do.
It takes a lot of. I'm trying to think of the English word, aguante, sort of the ability to do the same thing over and over
And
again.
doing it well.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely, my biggest admiration for these people. I'm just not one of them. But at the same time, I know that many other sort of persons will be completely uncomfortable doing the things I've been doing during the last years, which is, as I said, like really bad storms at sea, or getting to a place that you don't know anything about this island and trying to find well supplies, food, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what basically answering your questions for the last say until the last 3 years I've been on the sea. I did it's a saying, but it's true. I've done the seven seas
Yeah.
because I did a world tour with a yacht for 2 years. So we did
Yeah.
absolutely everything.
We should be listening to Andy Williams now. I'm never going to sail the seven seas no
Yeah,
more, or something like that.
something like that. Well,
um,
right now I don't think I'm gonna do that again. So
you
yeah.
know, no. Well, listen, we've got a real kind of dream theme today because we're going to be talking about how your life moved you into the donkey world. And I've got some nice little quotes here, I think, about dreams. And I have to be, well, this is not modest. The first one comes from my first novel.
Okay.
And it says this: if we don't have our dreams, how do we know which way to go?
Mm-hmm. Completely agree.
And now we're going to listen to California Dreaming.
Excellent.
Your 24/7 net station, Expat Radio.
This is Bill Anderson. You're listening to Expat Radio, and we're coming live from the Costa del Sol with my very special guest today, Amaya Isert, who is the founder of Donkey Dreamland, which is based in Mijas on the Costa del Sol. Amaya, you've been talking to us about your adventurous years on the seven seas, but you said about 3 years ago that kind of you decided that the came would come to an end. What brought that change about for you?
Well, I always explain the same thing to people who ask me this question because actually I was having a very good life, and I was like everybody was very jealous of me traveling around and being in super yachts, and and not why not to say like earning a very good salary because it's very well paid, etc., etc. But I always explain this day that I arrived to Seychelles
Hmm.
with one of the yachts.
Yeah, as one does.
Yeah,
We
as
just arrived in
yeah,
Seychelles this day.
Seychelles, yeah.
Yeah,
But that
yeah,
was
yeah.
after being in Bali and after being in Mauritius Islands and after like all this paradise. And I always had this dream about getting to Seychelles someday. It was like forever. And I do remember that day we arrived at the harbor, and I just remember that I prefer to just stay and rest than going to see and discover Seychelles.
Hmm.
So to me, that was a key
Right.
of maybe I need to do something different because this is not giving me the happiness, or I didn't have that illusion that I had at the beginning when I
Hmm.
was traveling and when I was discovering things. It's true that that was after 2 years world tour and I've seen everything. When I say everything, I mean that we were even in Svalbard, which is like the nearest part of the North Pole with the
Right.
yacht. We
Right.
were in Canada, we were in Alaska, we were in everywhere, everywhere. So yeah, I remember that day as a call. Something told me like, well, let's finish this trip because I first of all I'm professional and I don't like leaving things um, if they're not finished. So I
Hmm.
told to the owners of the yacht and say, well, I think my time here is over. I'm gonna wait until the end of the trip, which was Canary Islands, and
Right.
then I'm gonna step off the boat because I want to take a break and rethink what I want to
Right.
do next.
Right. So you landed in the Canary Islands and you didn't get back on the boat again.
I landed there and actually was in Lanzarote, beautiful place, magic. And yeah, I stayed there for a year,
Right.
just thinking
Hmm.
what I wanted to do next. I
So that
mean, I
was
allowed myself the time to have a rest, sabbatical
a
year,
sabbatical year. Yeah.
and in at the beginning, the idea was just coming back to sailing because that's what I've been doing and that's what I know how to do. But little by little, some things happened during that year that they brought me to where I am now.
Right. So obviously from the Canary Islands you came back to mainland Spain, and where did you come to?
Well, from the Canary Islands, I got since I had planned this sabbatic year for quite a while. I also bought myself a super nice camper van where I could
Right.
go and well, it was funny because I tried everything in Lanzarote. I even tried surfing, and I was really bad at it. But I had to give it. I mean, no matter where you go, you just do what people does at that place. So
Right.
everybody did surf in Lanzarote, and
Right.
I said, yeah, I'm also gonna do it. Well, no success. Anyway, so after a year, after a few things happening, like to me, life is about signs sometimes, And I was living in this beautiful little cottage in the middle of the island of Lanzarote, beautiful place. And one morning, I remember I was there having my coffee with my dog, and two donkeys came to my garden.
Really?
I never knew where they were from. I never knew why they came there.
Did you think it was a sign?
Of course, I did. I do believe in those things sometimes,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
I just wanted to be a sign because my love for donkeys has been there forever. And these two donkeys, they made the best day in months to me. It
Really.
was
Really.
amazing.
Yeah, I mean, when we've talked a lot, Amaya, and your kind of love for donkeys started way before that, and this kind of just seemed to reinforce it, didn't it?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, since, as I said before, I was born in Granada City, but with my mother and some other friends, etc., we usually went to Alpujarras. For people who doesn't know, Alpujarras is like It's a beautiful south side of Sierra Nevada. Anyway, it's just a mountain place with very nice small villages, and there were so many donkeys by then. We're
Mm,
talking on the 70s here.
right. Okay. And I guess in those days, donkeys were still working.
They were, yeah,
Yeah.
and that's how I got to know them because many of the families who lived at the Alpujarras in these little cottages or cortijos, they all had a donkey because sometimes they didn't even have a proper road to go with the car.
Sure.
So they would use a donkey to transport things around or to even to get the childs get into the school and things like that.
Right. Yeah.
So there I got very close to these animals. I started to fall in love with them and I started to understand their character and that's been since then.
Hmm.
Mm,
Yeah, I mean, for those who don't know, the Alpujarra, it's a beautiful area,
yeah.
and I guess this is on the Granada side, is it, of the Alpujarras?
Yeah, it's between Granada City and the coast, to
Yeah,
put it that way. It's like
but
in halfway. It's,
but it is beautiful. My wife and I have spent a couple of weekends up there, and we have friends that had a big finca and market garden up there.
mm,
And I guess it's used a lot for growing, well, vegetables is what they were doing mainly in supplying the hotels and restaurants and things. But it is a beautiful area. And of course, you have Lancaron, which is famous for its water,
the best water in the world.
isn't
No,
it?
yeah, it's actually yeah, it's very good.
Everybody says that, if you're talking about olive oil, oh, the best olive oil is from here. And if you're talking about water, the best water is from here.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, well
But
I'm from there,
so
so
this was really your first kind of contact with donkeys, really from childhood,
yeah.
and then all these years later, after sailing all over the world, all of a sudden, two donkeys turn up in at your cottage in Lanzarote. And what happened then?
Yeah, well, I have to say also that before these two donkeys came to my place, because I have to say that was a very special day because there was no reason for them to come there actually. And then I found out who the owner was, and he was living like 20 kilometers away. So why these donkeys came to me? No, this is a little bit of a joke, but it is true that during my sailing years, of course, it all sounds fantastic. People, I mean, my friends, they were always thinking, "Oh, you're always just sailing and living the life," and they would think I was there on deck having a martini, but actually, I was working. I was part of the
Yeah,
crew.
yeah,
So I have to say, it's like really hard work.
hmm,
Of course, it's beautiful in so many ways, but it's actually very, very hard. So I will need some breaks and holidays between crossings. I mean, after like 3 or 4 months straight on the ship, I will
yeah,
ask, okay, I need maybe 2, 3 weeks holidays
sure.
to reset and to get some more energy again and continue. So where did I go during these holidays? I went back to Alpujarra.
Ah,
I will
okay,
rent myself a cottage there by myself
right,
with my dog, and by this cottage there were a few donkeys, and
right,
I always had on mind when I was very stressed out because managing a galley in a luxury yacht can be quite
I'm
stressful, I have
sure.
to say. So when I was very stressed out, I always kept that image on my head, and that will give me the peace to go on and say, okay, don't worry, you're gonna be there soon, and you're gonna have a good time, and you're gonna rest.
Right,
So I did that for many many years.
right, okay. Um, I know that I don't know what the order of things was, but at some point you went to do some work at the donkey sanctuary in a place
Yes.
called Fuente de Piedra, which again is very much inland. How did that come about?
Well, after my year thinking, what do I do with my life in Lanzarote? Also having a good life there, by the
Yeah,
way, and meeting a very, very amazing people. Yeah, I was doing a research, and I really wanted to learn more about donkeys. I wanted to get myself trained. So, as I always did, I always choose to get my hands. I mean, to work on something in order to learn rather than going to school. That's
right,
what I've been doing always. Even my cooking skills are not just from school, are just for like, I always even volunteer, even I worked in some places for free so I
right,
could get the knowledge. And
sure,
that's how many people also get to learn things they want. So in that case, I wanted to apply the same way I've been doing things in life, and I said, well, what is the best place to learn about donkeys? Who knows
right,
best about donkeys?
hmm,
Of course, the Donkey
The
Sanctuary.
Donkey Sanctuary, yeah.
They are amazing. They've been working for these animals and doing all sort of investigations for the last 45 years.
Right.
And the place I choose is actually is a subsidiary of the Donkey Sanctuary. It's called El Refugio del Burrito,
Mm.
but it belongs to the Donkey Sanctuary, and it's based in a small little village between olives that is called Fuente de Piedra, which
Yeah.
is inside land, like an
And
hour away from here.
and it's not exactly an easy place to find, is it?
It's
I,
not really, no.
Vicky and I, we wanted to learn a bit more about donkeys for reasons that we won't go into at the moment. And we arranged to go up to the Refugio del Burrito. And, we had our GPS and everything all sorted. It took us there, but to the back end of it,
Oh, yeah, I know
yeah.
that.
And so we're sitting on the road there and got, that's it there. And we couldn't find our way in. So eventually we
Yeah.
asked a few people and we found our way in. But it's a big donkey sanctuary, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
How many donkeys do they have on average there,
Well,
Amaya?
on an average, I mean, we were supposed to have a maximum of 80 donkeys,
Right.
and that is important because what I'm going to say next is also the reason why I, decided to create my own thing. We have the limit of 80 donkeys. It's a limit based in different reasons. One is space, for sure,
Sure.
but that's not so important because the place, as you know, is quite big.
It's very big, yeah.
But of course, it's like it's the way that you can maintain these donkeys, it's the attention you can give to them. So
Sure.
we did have large staff, like 5 different rooms and people in the communication department, the vets, etc., etc. But um, but we had before I left the sanctuary, we had 97 donkeys. That was way too
Wow.
much. Okay, and sadly, they had to close the farm. Closing the farm means that we were not allowed to do any other rescue
Right.
because
Okay.
because we couldn't get more animals.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's when I started to think about opening
Yeah.
Donkey Dreamland.
And what did it feel like actually? After all, you're kind of almost like day-to-day experiences with donkeys and the Alpujarras and in Lanzarote. What did it feel like actually being there and working with the animals day to day?
Well, I have to say it was just a dream for me. I remember calling the sanctuary and saying, well, I do have some time. I do have a nice camper van, so you don't have to worry about
Accommodation. Yeah.
accommodation. And I'm quite happy staying there for a couple of months because it was like September, so it was good weather.
Mm-hmm.
That was the idea, just going there 2 months and give my time to the
Mm-hmm.
donkeys. But it became a dream. I mean, I will wake up early and I wouldn't even need any coffee or anything. I will just go straight to the sanctuary because what I wanted was just spend time with the donkeys, and of course learning. I learned so much from these people. It was a very good experience. Anyway, these 2 months became 2 years. I got stuck there.
You stayed there for 2
Yeah,
years. Yeah.
for 2 years.
So you've kind of got a habit of this sort of thing, like you land in the Seychelles and you think, I'm just going to stay here for a bit.
Yeah, yeah.
You land in Lanzarote and you think, I'm going to stay here for a bit.
Yeah, let's say I have
So
I have this freedom to
Then,
decide.
then you kind of landed in the donkey sanctuary and go, I'm going to stay here for a couple of years.
Yeah. Well, I also have this other thing. Like I sometimes I say, yeah, I'm gonna be here for a year, and after 1 week, I decide, no, I'm not. Well, that's being free gives you that power of deciding what is the best for you in each moment. Mm.
Yeah. Well, look, we're going to take just another short music break in a moment, Amaya. And then we're going to talk really about what everybody wants to hear about is Donkey Dreamland. But listen to this quote. It's a beautiful quote. If you don't build your dream, someone else will hire you to help build theirs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, you very much went down
Yeah,
your dream, didn't you? So let's just have a little break with the Everly Brothers.
fantastic.
You're listening to Expat Radio. I'm Bill Anderson, and we're coming live from the Costa del Sol with my guest, Amaya Isert, who is the founder and the drive behind the Donkey Dreamland Rescue Centre, which is here based on the Costa del Sol. Amaya, it's lovely having you here and finding a little bit about where all of this came from. and your love for donkeys and how you spent 2 years learning about donkeys. Were there any surprises there for you when you were learning, about their character, their personality, their traits, and all this sort of thing?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Of course, my love for donkeys it's been it was until I joined the donkey sanctuary, as many other people can love a donkey because they are so cute,
They are
right?
cute, aren't
They
they?
are cute.
And on the poster,
Yeah,
I put that we were being joined by Muñeco.
yeah. I couldn't convince him to come.
Unfortunately, he wouldn't fit into the office that we're doing this from at the moment. But Muñeco is one of your babies that was born in the
Yeah.
sanctuary, isn't it? Okay, tell us about Donkey Dreamland, Amaya.
Yes.
You had this idea because Fuente de Piedra, the donkey sanctuary, was really, they just couldn't deal with any more animals. Was that one of the driving factors for you to set up your own sanctuary?
Yes, absolutely. That was one of the main reasons also together because um, I was working there as a well different. First, I was a volunteer. Then they offered me a job, which I was like completely delighted. I couldn't even believe that they were
You might
paying me.
you might even get paid to do what you were
Yeah,
loving to
exactly. I
do.
was
Yeah,
like, this
yeah.
is not happening. They are actually paying me for being with donkeys. But yeah, so I worked at the groom department. I also worked at the communication department, also doing some guides and talking to press, etc.
Right,
So um, just like 2 years ago now, the donkey sanctuary closed also to the public. Okay,
right.
because since the location of that sanctuary is not so close to the coast, then we didn't have so
Sure.
many visitors, and then we decided that it was not worth it to keep doing these visits, etc.
Right,
So these two things together, and also the fact that I actually wanted to live on the coast myself. I mean,
right.
that was not the main reason, but inside land, you perfectly know that let's say the mines are a bit more close than
Yeah.
on the coast,
Yeah,
so
sure.
it was not super nice for me living there
Hmm.
by myself with in this small
I
village.
I think well my wife Vicky is originally from Madrid, but she also lived inland because her parents came from a small town inland,
Mm,
and she lived there for a few years. And when she came down to the coast, she said that the kind of international feel
absolutely.
altered a lot about the way she saw things and how she enjoyed living here. So I guess you're saying something very
Yeah, yeah.
similar
I'm
there.
saying, I'm saying that every time I will come down to the coast for to spend like one day or whatever, I could feel that.
Mm.
Yeah, that's this is cosmopolitan. This is like people from all over the places, and this is like it's completely different. And since I've been working most of my life with non-Spanish people,
Right.
I have become like something in between.
Yeah.
I am
Yeah.
Spanish. I'm
Yeah.
very proud of my country. I'm very proud of being Spanish. But all my relations and all my contacts and all my work,
Hmm.
it's been always with whether English or Swedish or Americans or
Right.
Canadians, etc.
Hmm. Okay. So Donkey Dreamland. Let's not talk too much about
Yeah,
the growing pains because um, well, we know that you had a couple of sort of false starts that was a bit complicated,
it was. Yeah,
but eventually you managed to find a piece of land, actually just a few minutes from where I live. Um, Tell us about finally setting up Donkey
yeah.
Dreamland and some of the complications, the difficulties, but the good parts as well.
Yeah, we'll avoid the first part of it, but
Yes.
I just want to mention it because it's also part of the story. I found this place. It looked very very nice, but then there were some legal issues on that land, so I
Yeah.
preferred to just like step back and say, well, I'm gonna look for another
Something
place
else. Yeah.
because I wanted to make sure that the donkeys that I was gonna rescue, they could be there for like many years
Yeah. Sure.
and not having these issues. So yeah, that happened. Then I just stepped back for a month. Actually, it was in COVID time,
Hmm.
so
Right.
there was nothing that I could do anyway because
Hmm.
we had to be in completely locked down.
Sure.
So during that COVID time, I just kept thinking I need to go on with that because it
Hmm.
is a good idea
Hmm.
and it's something that I really, really want to do. So I kept looking for land until I found where I am, which is called Finca La Rosa. Is it's in a very nice area. And yeah, the land was completely abandoned. I have to say, I think
Sure.
you came
I,
one of the
I
first
think one
days
of
and
the
you
first
saw it.
days,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
and it was like a little bit, let's just say, well, it wasn't very nice.
But
And
you saw the potential in it,
yes,
Amaya. I remember we walked around with you, and I could see your brain working. You're going, we could have something here, and we could do this, and it's just to explain. It's not a flat piece of land, is it?
no, 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 it's not flat, and that is one of the reasons why I choose that land because not to spend myself too much, but donkeys are animals that are like sort of goats. I mean, the best things for donkeys is just being up and down all the time.
Right.
Like I don't know the name in English, but when they eat the grass all around the little corners,
Yeah, just grazing and
yeah, so they
yeah.
need to be busy, and that's something that I also learned at the sanctuary. Even though it's a perfect place, but it was just flat. So
Sure.
many times I could just see the donkeys doing nothing all
Mm-hmm.
day,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought that was not the best land for a donkey.
Sure.
That's why I was very insistent in having a place where it was like yeah, actually I've lost a few kilos because just going from up the sanctuary to the bottom, when you come down is like okay, you've done the exercise of the day.
Right.
But also those donkeys, which is the most important part, is very good for the hooves because they are working all day, and it's very good for they keep fit, etc. So yeah, going back, I found this place. I thought, even though it looked
A bit abandoned.
a bit abandoned, well, a lot.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Yeah. 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 A lot abandoned.
let's
Yeah.
be honest here. It looked like wow, there is so much to get done here. But I really thought that was a place, and with some effort and work, we
Mm-hmm.
are making that place into something
Yeah.
somewhere that is actually nice to visit.
And I think one of the lovely things that's happened to Maya has been the support from local people. And we're going to call them volunteers, but their commitment is more than just voluntary commitment. Okay, they don't get paid for it, so they're volunteers in that sense. But my goodness, they have put in, along with yourself, a massive amount of work, haven't they?
Well, this is something that I always repeat myself, and but I repeat myself because it's like it's a big truth. I mean, I wouldn't have been able to do any of that without the amazing team of volunteers I
Hmm.
have. Because as you say, it's not just people who comes to the sanctuary to say, "Oh, I just want to be with donkeys," or "I just want to hug
Can I
donkeys."
give them a carrot, please?
Yeah, can I give them a car? That was something I was very afraid at the beginning because you need to be careful with that. Sometimes having a volunteer who is not committed actually gives you more work
Sure.
than help.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've been very, very lucky. Everybody who's been joining the volunteer team from the very beginning, they are absolutely amazing. And they don't only clean donkey poo, which is, of course,
Which is part of the job,
is
yeah.
part of the job. Nobody complains. Huh? I mean, and I've been cleaning donkey poo for like a couple of years, and actually, it's like very
You get
relaxing.
used to it, yeah,
They
yeah.
just don't think. They just like yeah, it's fine. But yeah, I was saying they don't only do that, but they even organize fundraising events for me
Yeah,
because they know that I don't have so much time, and they go, "Don't worry, we're gonna organize this event," and they do everything.
and some of the events that they've organised, even with all the difficulties and all the restrictions that we've
Yes,
had, have been amazing. They've had to be very careful about how and where and what and all these sort of things, but they've done some amazing fundraising events, haven't they?
yeah, they have. We did like well, we did different ones. One was a concert in a little place. Another one was like how you call that? A tea English tea afternoon
Oh,
or
afternoon tea.
afternoon tea. Afternoon tea.
Yes,
Sorry, I'm not
yes.
so familiar with that. But yeah, afternoon tea was a complete success, and all volunteers they were just baking and preparing the place, and so excited about it, you know.
Yeah.
So then I repeat myself. Of course, the idea was mine, and I'm quite stubborn when I get something into my mind, and then I just went on and on and on. But it's so important the team of
Yeah.
volunteers. I'm so
And
grateful.
it is interesting that the volunteers that you have are nearly all foreigners, aren't they?
I will say all of them,
All of them. Okay.
except two, I believe, like Patricia and Pedro. The rest is all, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Pedro's been doing the is it Pedro's doing the paellas.
Pedro is the paella
He's a
master.
paella man.
Paella
Yes,
master. He's
yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
But you know you've had a lot of support from the I'm going to say expat, but they're not all British either. But the foreign community down here, the international community, have really got behind you on this,
Yeah.
and um, I don't know. I guess for some people, it's also given them some kind of focus and you know something to look forward to on a day to day basis.
Yeah, I believe there is different reasons for that. Well, first of all, many of the Spanish who live around here, they work and
Yeah, of course.
they have the kids in the school and they have so they have less time.
Sure.
That's one reason. Another reason is like, of course, the countries like England or Denmark or Sweden, they do have a longer culture of animal welfare
Sure.
and and how to help in
Hmm.
sanctuaries, etc. So that is something that they have inside themselves. And then another reason I believe is that because donkeys are something so Spanish, I know they are all over the world, yeah, but it's
Yeah.
something like very much from Andalusia and especially where we are now,
Sure.
Mijas the donkey is like very important in this
Well,
community.
it is. I mean, the Mijas donkeys is another subject which we
Yes,
won't go into,
no,
but
I know.
it is a symbol of Mijas because the history of this connection with donkeys goes back probably to the Moors.
Yeah,
And Andalusia is, you know, it still has a lot of very Moorish cultural
yeah,
things.
yeah,
And for me, that there's no doubt. Well, donkeys come from Africa, sort of originally, don't they?
yeah,
And so this connection with donkeys, Andalusia, which was really a very poor area, a lot of farming, and yeah, there's a long, long history, probably, I don't know, 500 years, 600 years of history between uh, Andalusia, certainly, and donkeys.
yeah. Well, I will say even more because donkeys have been part of Andalusia for like many. It's true that they came from Africa, but they've been with us for like more than 1,000 years. Also, I would like to take the chance to say that donkeys have been working for humans for almost 4,000
I can
years.
imagine,
Okay,
yeah,
4,000 years is a
sure.
lot, and this is
Hmm.
that is one of the reasons I created that because I
Yeah,
believe I always say the same, but I believe that these animals have done so much for us, and now that they are not useful anymore, we're trying to get rid of them.
right.
So I think it's very important
Hmm.
to give something back to the
Sure.
donkeys, give them that dignity that they deserve,
Hmm.
and especially in places like Andalusia, because it's not too far in time where they were actually part of our families.
Sure.
So when I was a child, I could see that, and
Yeah,
I'm almost 45, so it's not so long that
sure.
the donkeys were a very important part of the family, like
Yeah,
having a car.
yeah,
It was the same
sure,
thing.
sure.
It was
And when you first set up Donkey Dreamland, you had two kind of sitting tenants that came along with you, didn't you? Romeo and
yeah.
Juliet. Yeah.
Well, you always get something good from any bad experience. I did have a bad experience in the first place. I rented to create the project, but there were two donkeys there, and I decided to take them with me because they were not very well taken care.
Yeah.
So I told to the owner, I say, I think those two donkeys are gonna be the first ones.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
So
the first ones in at Donkey Dreamland.
those were the first ones. And
Yeah,
how many donkeys do you have living there now?
I would say too many. No, well, I do have 19
You have
donkeys
19. Well,
under our care now, which is actually is a lot, but it's going to be 20 because we have this super pregnant
yes, of
lady donkey
course.
called Esperanza.
Esperanza,
And
yes.
every day I'm like, okay, she's gonna do it today. She's gonna do it today. But she's still not. Maybe in 2, 3 days, we're gonna have a.
But it's not going to be the first baby, is it?
Well, actually, Muñeco, which is the baby we have there,
Yeah.
he was not born there.
Oh,
He
he
was
wasn't
no,
born.
he
Okay.
came when he was 2 months old
Right.
because they needed a place. So that is gonna be
And he is
the first
absolutely
one.
gorgeous, isn't he?
Oh yeah,
Muñeco,
my
he's
God.
gorgeous. And he's got this little trick of climbing between the fence to get
Yeah, yeah,
out
yeah.
and eat where he wants, and then he'll climb back in again.
Oh my God, he's just such a character. You can just watch him all day, and he makes you laugh.
Yeah.
But this is very nice. And when I do the tours at the sanctuary, I always explain that For me, it's very nice to show an example of like Muñeco. Muñeco is a donkey that hasn't had any bad experience. He hasn't had any mistreatment.
No.
He's growing surrounded by love and
Hmm.
trust. And then you can really see the
Yeah,
character of a donkey. They
sure.
are fun, they are clever, and
But you also rescued one donkey. There was a case in Spain a couple of months ago where I don't know there were 50 or 60 donkey. I can't
yeah,
remember the number, and one of those donkeys came to you. Can you tell us about her?
yeah. That's one of the rescues I'm very very happy that I did. There's so many other rescues that that donkeys who are living at the sanctuary now that they are actually pretty sad stories. Some others are not so sad. It's just like people who suddenly cannot take care of
Can't take
them
care of them.
anymore
Yeah,
because also because of COVID situation and crisis, etc.
sure.
But yeah, the case you were talking, her name is Flor. Well, we named her Flor when she arrived, and that was a case in Cádiz, in La Línea, where somebody had like 37 donkeys in absolutely poorly conditions. It was a drama seeing that because there were even dead donkeys at the
Right.
same place. And funny thing is, like this man was taking some money from the government in
Hmm.
order to take care of these donkeys. Of course, he didn't. He would just get the money, and
And
he wouldn't even feed the donkeys.
right.
The case of Flor is she was pregnant, 10 months pregnant, which is like quite a lot, and she just lost her baby because
She was undernourished and
yeah
sick, and
she was completely on her
yeah.
bones, and she had all these sort of infections and skin issues,
How's
and
she doing now?
she's doing very good.
Yeah.
She's recovering very well. She's still not very. She hasn't found a donkey friend there yet because well, for any animal losing a baby,
It's a trauma, isn't it?
it's a trauma, and she's
Hmm.
still going through that. But also getting that example, I have to say that we not only work at the sanctuary with the physical issues of the donkeys. I
Hmm.
believe that one of the most important things to for a donkey to to get better is work in their emotions.
Right.
So we have this pretty much in mind,
Hmm.
and I do have the help of an amazing woman. She's Helen Spencer, who is an animal communicator. So
Hmm.
every time I see that a donkey is like reacting in a strange way,
Right.
or I see that he's changed the behavior, she comes and she tries to analyze what's actually
Okay.
going on with that donkey, and
Hmm.
we work on that until
Hmm.
that donkey feels better.
Okay. Amaya, you might not believe this, but time is. But we're not running out. But time is going on. But I want to talk about the success of Donkey Dreamland, and how that very success has actually caused a few problems for you. I mean, it's fair to say, isn't it, that the rescue centre was never set up as a tourist attraction.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't, and despite all the problems that we have with COVID and all this kind of mobility and whatever, it was kind of becoming a tourist attraction, wasn't it?
Yeah, Bill, this is something that is been, I've been very concerned lately because it's true that we started and we say, yes, we're open to the public because we believe it's good for people to get to know the donkeys, and also it's good for these rescue donkeys to be a little bit with people.
Right.
That was fantastic at the beginning because we did very tranquil interactions with the
Yeah.
donkeys. They will enjoy that. But as you said, we have become very popular
Hmm.
now, and lately we were having way too many visitors. And
Yeah.
when I say way too many, it's about having 70 people around.
Yeah.
Donkeys get stressed.
The
Um,
staff, or not the staff, the
the
volunteers, and
volunteers, they
they
don't,
probably get a bit
yeah,
stressed
they don't
too.
enjoy so much. At the
Yeah.
end, they're volunteers, and of course, they want to help, but they also want to spend time with the donkeys. And some
Sure.
days there was no possibility
Yeah.
of that. So that's why now again it's time to sit down, take a little break, rethink
Yeah.
how do we want to proceed
Hmm.
in the in the way we function the sanctuary,
Uh,
because I really don't. I mean, I'm very afraid of becoming, as you said, a tourist attraction, or very afraid of people thinking that we are a zoo
sure.
or becoming a circus.
Yeah.
That is absolutely not what I want at
So
the moment.
it's not about stopping people coming all together, is it? But it really is putting some controls into when you can manage having visitors at the sanctuary. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna do. I mean, it's going to be a transition, to put it that way. Of course, we're not gonna close to the public
No,
because I
no.
know there is so many people who enjoys coming and seeing the donkeys. But it's true that we are working on a system where people has to be very, very, very interested in coming and seeing
Yeah.
and actually learning about what we're doing. We don't
Hmm.
want to become an entertainment, if you
Ah,
understand what I
yes,
mean.
yes.
Okay, we don't want to be just like one more option of what can I do on a Sunday. I can go to the beach, I can go to the shopping mall, or I can
Sure.
go to see donkeys. No, I
Hmm.
mean this is
GPS
serious.
signal lost.
This is
Oh,
something serious.
no, I don't think so. I think we're good.
Yeah, so this is something serious, and yeah, and we are a rescue center, so
Yeah,
we need to get back and focus in what is most important, which is the well-being of the animals, and is about respecting the tranquility of that place. So as I said, we're going to start a booking system, and people will be allowed to come, of course, but they really want to, the most want to do that by
yeah,
sending a mail or at least a telephone call, and that's going to
yeah.
be the chance, little by little.
And I know people will be disappointed if they can't just say, "What will we do with the kids today?" Oh, let's go to Donkey Dreamland. But it's what you say, Amaya, that this wasn't set up as a tourist attraction. It's lovely that people want to come and want to spend time, but you also want them to have the quality of time there, not just to see a donkey and pat it on the nose.
Exactly.
You want them to actually have time to have someone talk to them about the donkeys and about the behavior and what they like and what they don't like, and that's really where you want to go, isn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly where I want to go. But also, yeah, I don't like just. I mean, it's not that I don't like, but I mean, to me, it makes no sense that people just comes and say, oh, what a cute donkey, and then goodbye, and then I'm gonna have lunch in La Cala. Actually, I like people who comes to the sanctuary
Hmm.
to leave the place, having learned about these animals and
Sure.
having changed their mind about how a donkey character
Yeah.
really is. In order to do that, of course, we need less visitors and
Yeah.
more time for them. So,
Yeah, and of course, the more donkeys you have, the more work there are.
oh yes,
Now there is, you're saying you're going to have 20 soon when Esperanza drops her baby,
yeah.
and it's a lot of work. It's a
Oh yeah, yeah.
huge amount of work.
It is a lot of work actually. I'm there like 7 days a week because well I have to. I'm quite happy. I'm not complaining, but yeah, feeding 20 donkeys and doing the cures and cleaning stables and paddocks, etc. is yeah, it's a full time work, and we are all very hands on there, but it's quite tough. I don't know how much time we have left.
We are almost out of time, Amaya.
Okay, I just want to say one thing, if it's possible.
Yes,
It's very quickly.
yes,
Um, I know this is most for people who lives around the area.
yeah.
I now also I am going to concentrate a lot more into finding new homes for the donkeys we have at the
So
sanctuary.
adoption,
Adoption,
right?
please get a donkey into your life. Is the
Yeah.
best thing you can do. In order to do that, we only ask for people to have at least 250 square meters of land
Okay,
for one donkey, a little shelter, and of course, we're not going to charge anything. I
right.
mean, we just need to find new places for the donkeys we have that have been recovered
Sure.
in order to be able to rescue new ones.
Uh,
Otherwise,
Wonderful.
otherwise we got stuck.
And I should say, people should go to your Facebook page as well,
Yes,
Donkey Dreamland Rescue Centre, and they can make donations there. Yes.
absolutely. Yeah, that's something that we
Um,
also
uh,
need.
yeah, I mean, we could talk. There's a lot more we could talk about, Amaya. We have to finish now, but I want to thank you so much for coming and sharing all of this, your life, your dream, your project with us. Amaya, thank you very, very much.
It's my pleasure.
And well, we have to go off with a song, and I think it has to be Roy Orbison.
Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Robert Powell, and you're listening to Expat Radio.
A candy-colored clown they call the Sandman